Hey, happy Monday morning, everybody. Welcome back to LWN Network. I'm Tammy Nation, your host of Headline Hits at noon Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was on with one of the producers. We were trying to get hooked up with Rumble, but apparently Rumble's been under attack. And even though I created the stream and we were ready to go, it wouldn't connect to StreamYard to allow it to play. So we've been working on trying to get that going. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to be on Rumble today. So we're going to go ahead and share the show on Rumble after the fact. But that's why we had a little bit of a delay today. We were having technical difficulties with Rumble. Apparently, there's a lot going on with it. Like I said, it's being under attack. He said the terminology, but I didn't understand the terminology. But regardless, we are on YouTube and we are on X this morning. It's great to see you guys. I hope each and every one of you had a beautiful, wonderful Mother's Day weekend. I know I did. It was beautiful. It was calm. It was quiet, but it was heartfelt. And that's what it's all about. Appreciating all the mothers and the mother representatives out there in the world. It was a wonderful weekend. Each and every one of you, like I said, I hope that you had a great one. We know that the president and his administration was busy this weekend, so we have a lot of headlines to get into. A lot of stuff that popped this morning as well that I've been paying attention to. So it's always something, isn't it? A very busy weekend, but a wonderful weekend. So thanks for joining me this morning. I'm going to go ahead and play this little intro, and we'll be right back with headline hits for you guys. First up, we have this morning, Trump is going to use illegal alien housing funds to build National Warrior Independence Center. This is wonderful. Money coming back to us and our homeless vets instead of going out to illegals like the previous administration. The president did announce this on Friday evening that he is going to establish the National Center for Warrior Independence at the West Los Angeles Veterans Administration campus. Now, the center is going to provide a much needed assistance and services to homeless veterans, including housing. The president orders that funds previously allocated for housing and other services for illegal aliens be redirected to supporting our veterans. And that deserves a standing ovation. That should have always been that way. The last administration didn't feel that way, but I am so happy about us in this because our veterans, we know, deserve so much more than they've been given over the years. So Trump stated, during my first term, I signed legislation to increase accountability and expand benefits and choices for veterans in accessing care. And my second term will build on those efforts. He said in a statement in announcing the center, the VA campus in West Los Angeles will become the National Center for Warrior Independence with facilities and resources to help our veterans earn back their self-sufficiency. In 2024, there were approximately 3,000 homeless veterans in the LA area. This represents the largest population of homeless veterans in the nation. The White House did state this and accounts for more than 10% of homeless veterans. The president's order states our nation's security, prosperity, and freedom would not be possible without our veterans. Amen. Many service members paid the ultimate sacrifice. Many others bear visible and invisible wounds from their service. Too many veterans are homeless in America. Each veteran deserves our gratitude, yet the federal government has not always treated veterans like the heroes they are. During the previous administration, unaccountable bureaucrats treated them shamefully, failing veterans when they needed help most and betraying the taxpayers who rightfully expect better. Now, the story of the West Los Angeles Veterans Affairs Medical Center is indicative of the failure. More than 100 years ago, Senator John Percival Jones and Arcadia Bandolini Day Stearns Baker generously donated hundreds of acres of land that they owned in West LA, on the condition that it be used to house disabled veterans. The campus once featured a chapel, billboard hall, 1,000-seat theater, and housed about 6,000 veterans. But the federal government has since allowed this crown jewel of veteran care to deteriorate over the last few decades. Breitbart has this complete breakdown of what the president's order, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development to do in this matter. There's a lot of details in this order if you want to read it. Like I said, amen to this. And it's one of the most wonderful stories that I think I've read and discovered, and things that have been done since Trump took office. It's wonderful. Next up, we have a statement, an update from the FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Just came out to show transparency and to make the American citizens basically develop trust in the agency again. He's trying to do that. We know that we don't feel that way, but he said, I'd like to update you on some things that I think are going well and some things that we can and will do better. He stated, the workforce has been working overtime on task force operations to remove dangerous illegal aliens from this country, and the work continues. The message is clear. If you came here illegally to prey on our citizens, your days here are numbered. These removal and incarceration operations will dramatically change the crime landscape in the country when combined with the administration's laser focused on sealing the border shut. Expect these operations to ramp up, not slow down. Crimes against children are a priority for the workforce. Operation Restoring Justice, where we lock up child predators and 764 subjects in every part of the country. It is just the beginning. We are going to take your freedom if you take away a child's innocence. Think twice if you've targeted children, because you're next. We're clearing information to Congress and then the public as quickly as possible. In just a couple of months since being sworn in, we have responded to requests for information on the attack on Rep. Scalise and members of Congress, the Nashville attack, Crossfire Hurricane, the COVID cover-up, and more, Dan Bongino continued. We are working with the DOJ in the Epstein case, and as the AG stated, there are incredible amounts of downloaded child sexual abuse material that we're dealing with. These are also victim statements that are entitled to specific protections. We need to do this correctly, he stated, but I do understand the public's desire to get the information out there. He said, we are doing our best in the current budgetary environment to prioritize the mission, act as good fiscal stewards, find waste and inefficiencies, and enact reforms while moving the FBI forward. He says it hasn't been easy, but we will get it done. He said also we have weekly meetings where we meet with our CFO, our new CIO, and CTO team. He goes, we go through the budget items line by line. It's your money and it's your FBI. We will not forget that. I have no desire to sugarcoat this one. It's been difficult in this new role to stay relatively quiet while certain elements of the media continue to entirely fabricate stories about what we're doing at the FBI. But that's part of the job as a public servant. He said, I don't work for myself anymore, He said, I work for the public. And while I can't address all the nonsense in this one post, I will address the repeated attacks on Director Patel. Now, we know that a lot has been going against Patel with the left and all that kind of stuff, and then with the Epstein files and such. But he said the director's office is attached to mine. I am in most briefings he is in. He spends anywhere between 10 to 12 hours in the office attending meetings with everyone from foreign heads of law enforcement to our counterterrorism teams and more. Any assertion otherwise is a verifiable lie designed to stop our reforms and fracture your trust. He said, I will die on this hill. You are being clearly lied to by people with an agenda, and it's not your agenda. So he said other things are happening as well, and they will become evident in the coming weeks and months. Keep watching us and holding us accountable. So that is a big, long statement, and I think an encouraging statement from Dan Bongino, FBI Deputy Director, because we know that there is not trust in much of anything anymore. And for them to stay transparent, to keep in contact with the American people, to tell us the dirty details that are going on as best they can, I think is very important. For him to back Kash Patel, I think is wonderful as well. Like I said, there's many things going on that we really aren't thrilled with, but the timing of them, but we have to, I guess, have faith and we have to have trust. Up next, we have, this is a big one. The US of A has made a deal with China trade deal, and it happened in Geneva over the weekend. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent announced Sunday evening, "I'm happy to report that we have made substantial progress between the United States and China in the very important trade talks. First, I want to thank our Swiss host. The Swiss government has been very kind in providing us this wonderful venue, and I think that led to the government being very kind. We've seen a great deal of productivity." He said, "We will be given details tomorrow, but I can tell you that the talks were productive." Now, this was yesterday. "We have had the vice premier, two vice ministers who were integrally involved, Ambassador Jameson and myself. And I spoke to President Trump, as did Ambassador Jameson last night, and he is fully informed of what is going on. There will be a complete briefing this morning." So Trump is going to be briefed on all this. We know that he just signed the pharmaceutical deal, which I'm going to talk about this morning. He talked about that. But this briefing on China is very positive and very wonderful. A lot of people were naysayers saying that nothing is going to be done, and it got done this weekend. A lot of it put in place, and progression is being made in the deals. So the U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Jameson Greer did add, he said, "This was, as the secretary pointed out, a very constructive 2 days. It's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to an agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as may be thought. That being said, there was a lot of groundwork that went into these 2 days." He said, "Just remember why we're here in the first place. The United States has a massive $1.2 trillion trade deficit. So the president declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs. And we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency. The deal includes slashing tariffs by 115% and entering a 90-day pause for additional negotiations. So it brings U.S. tariffs down to 30% and China's down to 10%. So that was a big deal that they got covered over the weekend. Then on the Iranian front, this story kind of got buried a little bit, but there was a newly discovered nuke site building in Iran. Fox News obtained the satellite imagery revealing that the opposition group says it previously undisclosed Iranian nuclear weapons facility, raising fresh concerns amid ongoing negotiations between Tehran and the Trump administration. Now, the newly identified site, which is located in Iran's Semnan province, is far from the regime's already known nuclear facilities. According to the National Council of Resistance of Iran, intelligence gathered from sources inside the country points to a sprawling compound. It covers about 2,500 acres. Codenamed the Rainbow Site by Iranian officials, the facility has reportedly been in operation for more than a decade, masked as a chemical production company known as Deba Energy Seba. The primary function of the Rainbow Site is the extraction of tritanium, a radioactive isotope used to enhance nuclear weapons. Unlike uranium enrichment, tritanium has virtually no peaceful or no commercial applications. So did you hear that? No positive and virtually no peaceful commercial applications at this plant. It cast further doubt on Iran's long-standing claims that its nuclear ambitions are solely for energy or civilian use. Now, the revelations come as the Trump administration navigates sensitive negotiations with Tehran, and when asked about the U.S. position on whether Iran can maintain a nuclear enrichment program short of weapons development, of course, President Donald Trump told reporters, "We haven't made that decision yet. We will, but we haven't made that decision yet." So something that was found that's been going on for a long time. So that is why Trump says absolutely no nuclear weapons, no building of them, no nothing to do with them. We have to eliminate every single thing to move forward in negotiations here. Then next up, Trump did a Truth Social statement on Russia and Ukraine and India and Pakistan. So to update you on that, the President Putin of Russia doesn't want to have a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine, but rather wants to meet on Thursday in Turkey to negotiate a possible end to the bloodbath. Ukraine should agree to this immediately, Donald Trump posted. At least they will be able to determine whether or not a deal is possible. And if it's not, European leaders in the U.S. will know where everything stands and can proceed accordingly. He said, "I'm starting to doubt that Ukraine will make a deal with Putin, who's too busy celebrating the victory of World War II." which would not have been won, not even close, without the United States of America. He said, have the meeting now. However, President Zelensky stated he will be waiting for the full and lasting ceasefire starting today to provide the necessary basis for diplomacy. And he said, I will be waiting for Putin in Turkey on Thursday personally. I hope that this time the Russians will not look for excuses. So Trump put that out there, then progressed over the weekend. Zelensky said he's going to go ahead and wait there in Turkey to meet with Putin, and we'll see how that goes. Then Saturday morning, the president put this out. He said, after a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I am pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. Congratulations to both countries on using common sense and great intelligence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. But just before noon, he added this. I am very proud and strong and unwavering of the powerful leadership of India and Pakistan for having the strength, wisdom, and fortitude to fully know when and how to understand it was time to stop the current aggression that could have led to the death and destruction of so many and so much. Millions of good people, innocent people, could have died. Your legacy is greatly enhanced by your brave actions. I am proud that the USA was able to help you arrive at this historic and heroic decision. While not even discussed, I am going to increase trade substantially with both of these great nations. Additionally, I will work with you both to see it after 1,000 years, a solution can be arrived at concerning Kashmir. Both are, God bless the leadership of India and Pakistan. Job well done. Now, what happened was about 7 p.m. Saturday evening, stories started circulating and surfacing. There was still some sort of firing continuing back and forth. Both sides did claim that the other broke the ceasefire agreement, but it wasn't made clear what was really going on, whether it was the ones who needed to get the ceasefire info didn't get it to them quickly enough, or there were attacks already underway that they needed to have time to stop. But it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, Al Jazeera put out on a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, said that he seems to be holding after both sides accused each other of violent violations. It's been holding for 24 hours. The United Nations and countries around the world, including Bangladesh, Qatar, Turkey, and the United Kingdom, have welcomed the truce, which was brokered by more than 30 countries. And by the way, President Trump is indeed heading to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia tomorrow for this first official foreign trip. He's apparently going to make many multi-million-dollar deals there in AI and arms as well. And then also we have Trump's post from Sunday evening, which is concerning about the prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals. He was saying that for many years, the world's wondered why it's so expensive in the United States of America compared to any other nation. He said sometimes in America, we have to pay 5 to 10 times more for drugs than anybody else in other nations. He said, even though the drugs are the same drug, it's the same lab, the same plant, and the same company. He said it was always difficult to explain and very embarrassing because, in fact, there was no correct or rightful answer. The pharmaceutical drug companies would say for years that it was research and development cost, that out of those costs, that we would and be far no reason to be borne by the suckers of the United States of America alone, that it was because of their developments, the researchers. And come to find out, he said, Americans were paying for all the funding and research. No other country was, but we were. And he said, campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me and not with the Republican Party. He said, we are going to do the right thing that the Democrats have fought for many years. So what happened was in the White House today, a little after 9, he did sign one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. Prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices are going to be reduced, he said, 50, 60, 80%. He said they're going to rise throughout the world in order to equalize and for the first time in many years bring fairness to America and American citizens. That is going to be a break for us as well. He said, I'm going to be instituting the most favored nations policy whereby the United States will pay the same exact price as the nation that pays the lowest price anywhere in the world. He said our country will finally be treated fairly and our citizens' healthcare costs will be reduced by numbers never even thought of before. He said, additionally, on top of everything else, the United States will save trillions of dollars. So this is a lot going on this weekend. And then finally, Trump has announced that Eden Alexander is coming home after being released from Hamas. He is believed to be the last living American hostage held by Hamas. He had been held hostage since October of 2023. Trump stated that he hopes this is the first of final steps to end the ongoing war conflict. Hamas affirmed in a statement by one of their senior negotiators that it is ready to immediately start intensive negotiations and make serious efforts. So, reading through all this, you guys, you can see what a busy, positive, productive weekend that it was for Mother's Day weekend. A lot of major deals were made, a lot of things in progress positively for the United States of America. Once again, President Trump and his administration just want fairness and equality for this great country because we've taken it in the back for so long. We've been the piggy bank for so much for so long. And when you realize and you find out the details that the president gives about the different things that we're paying for, but other countries aren't, you understand how fair and lopsided that it has been. And he's not standing for that anymore. Heading to Saudi Arabia, they are very positive and very optimistic about the deals that they're going to be made, like I said, there with AI and arms. So we'll see what happens with that. But it was a very productive weekend, and it makes you wonder how he keeps up with it all. But I believe that when you have passion for something and you love this great country like he does in his administration, you know, there are still a few people in there, obviously, that are trying to blockade him. There are people in there that don't always agree, but seem to put actually a lot on the left, terrorists first. They're protecting terrorists. And, you know, these pharmaceutical companies, they don't like it. And you find out when you go into the dirty details of the deals that have been made on, it's because they've lined their pockets for so many years and gotten rich. You know, it's a whole chain reaction of basically big pharma pays the doctors. Then you go into them paying the researchers, big pharma pays politicians. You know, that's what he meant when he said campaign contributions can do a lot to swing politicians and what they do. Big pharma also pays the FDA, lawyers, lobbyists, media. Big pharma pays celebrities to sell you the product, and big pharma also pays big tech. So big pharma has a lot of control and money out there to sway people to do what they want done, to keep making the trillions and billions of dollars that they do. And this thing that he signed today, this EO, was a really big deal, and it is landmark and historical. And I think it's a wonderful way to start our Monday, to have all these positive news stories, and with trade and with, especially with China, with people thinking it wasn't going to come to fruition, and we are moving forward with it, and it's great. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, we were not able to be on Rumble, but I believe we're going to try to post the show up later for those people that like to go to Rumble, or if you know somebody that uses Rumble and didn't see us today, please spread the word. Technical difficulties not on our end. Rumble's having a whole bunch of problems on its whole platform. So it's not us, it is them. So take care. God bless. Welcome to Monday. Lots more coming down the pipes for tomorrow for headline hits. The news cycle is ever changing. Like I said, from Friday to Saturday, Sunday to today, so much came and changed, but it's all been for the positive. So that is indeed a blessing. So take care. God bless. I will check in with you guys tomorrow, noon Eastern Standard Time, right here on the LWN Network. We'll see you then.